Okay, hi guys. So welcome to our second tutorial. So in the last video, we introduced you to the GoBuilda ecosystem, and in this one, we're going to go over how to actually assemble parts in Onshape according to examples that GoBuilda gives you. So as you can see here, GoBuilda gives you very nice examples of how to integrate parts together, and this is like we're going to use the script force mechanical wheel as an example. So this is 1/4 of a mechanical wheel set, so like you can see here. So this is a complete version of it. So we're gonna like basically CAD 1/4 of the whole thing. So as you can see here, there are many parts. So this document is for the grip force mechanicals, which is like this wheel. But in the examples, it highlights all the parts that you're gonna need to make it into a usable mechanism. So as you can see here, first there is the grip force mechanical wheel set. There is a shouldered hub shaft, two bearings, two bevel gears, or melter gears, whatever. ID spacers, shims, and quad block mount, and planetary gear motor. So we're going to introduce you to how to actually assemble these parts in Onshape and import them, of course. So as you can see here, so we go to Onshape and create a document. So like normally we have a team document that you can use that we can just import all our parts into and you can cat into as part of a team. But in this example, we're going to create a singular document. So we click create document and then we give it a name. So I'm going to call it tutorial 2.5 because my laptop crashed 5 times before this. When I was recording the second tutorial. So as you can see here, there are two tabs here. One is a part studio and one is assembly. So in part studios, you basically design individual parts. In assemblies, you basically merge individual parts together. So for instance, in part studio, I am gonna CAD a cube, for example, a 16 by 16 by 16 cube. So as you can see, oops, this is not right. We need to make sure the workspace units is right. So normally when we're doing FTC, our units should be millimeters. Meters is too large, and we do not use inches because we always use a metric system. Because GoBuilda system is metric, and if you use imperial, it's going to mess a lot of things up. So 16, 16. So as you can see here before, for instance, these I can delete. So like you can see that this thing here is called dimension, or wait, it's called dimension. So basically, you use this to kind of restrict how the length and like width or whatever dimension of an object. So this is called not fully constrained, which means you can drag this around. So let me show you what this affects the final part. So like we want to do 16 millimeters cube. So let's extrude this by 16 millimeters. So as you can see here, this is a little bit messed up. For instance, this is not 16 by 16 millimeters. Like if you drag this, it's going to change, and you never want this to happen. So what you do is you press D or choose dimension, and then you just basically choose these two sides and just give it 16. And then it's fully constrained, perfect, 16 millimeter cube. So in assemblies, we basically import parts. We can import parts from the current document or from other documents. So for instance, let's import this cube here. Let's import another one. So one thing you want to do in assembly is basically, well, like the name, assemble parts together. So you can press M or choose any of the mates here to start a mate. So if you press M, the default is fasten mate, which is this one. There are other types of mates, and we might go into them in the future, but currently we're just going to use fasten mate. So you can click on one face, and then you can click on another. So you can see here, there are these white dots here. So by default, it usually leads you to when you hover your mouse over a face, it usually like takes you to the centermost point, or sometimes you can't get to your desired point of mating. So you can press shift and you can move to whichever point of mate you want. So I'm going to go with the center here. So you see, boom, it merged together, and now these two parts are permanently together and it's not going to move. So for fasten mate, it's basically like you fasten two parts together, they're just not going to move forever. essentially. So we'll go a bit more into Fastmates in a second. So, but in a document, you always want to fix at least one part, or just fix one part. So you can see here, you can still drag this around, and you don't want this to ever happen. You always want to fully constrain something. So what you do is just basically fix one of the parts, and now the whole thing is a bunch, and this is what we want. So introduction complete. Let's go into how to insert parts. So as you see, what we did before, we can insert parts from the current document by just pressing on insert, but we can also insert parts from the FTC library. So you do this by clicking on other documents, go to home, and you can see this FTC robotics parts users. You are not actually in this user group if you're new to FTC, so you need to contact me or Mr. Shyland, or just basically email, I think it's FTC parts users. So I think you need to email first PDC with the email, and email them your Onshape account email, basically, and they'll add you to the user group, and then you can have access to these parts. So after you click on this, you can see here that there are many folders, and these are organized by vendor. So we normally just use GoBuilda, but sometimes we also use some other parts from, for example, Rev and McMaster Color and Andy Mark. So, but mostly we just use parts from GoBuilda. So like parts from Rev Robotics we use is like the second most used vendor that we have, but we don't actually use them actually. So, but like some useful parts from Rev Robotics is stuff like the control hub and expansion hub. So everyone needs to use these electronics from Rev, which is kind of mean. But they also have their own build system, but we don't use it because it's not good, not as good as the GoBuilda build system. So as you can see here, we can click on the GoBuilda folder and navigate inside of it. So as you can see here, there are the same exact folders as in like their shop page. So for example, if you want to go to the mechanical wheel set, you can click on motion because it's a wheel. Then you go to wheels and tires. Then you go to mechanical wheels, and boom, it's in here. So as you can see, we can import that part by going into motion, wheels and tires, mechanical wheels, and boom, here it is. Grip force mechanical wheels. So we click on this to import it, essentially, and then you can see here there is two tabs, Parts Studios and Assemblies. And under Parts Studios, it says do not use parts. So you can click on this to try and import it. So this is what happens. There's a big red cross, and then you can see all these parts, they're not even together, and it's all messed up. You do not want this to happen, so you never actually import parts if there is assembly to import. So you can press Ctrl-Z to cancel this, and then you can go to Assemblies tab and actually import it. So like mechanical wheels are divided into left slant wheels and right slant wheels. So it's probably another topic for another day, but we'll just use the left slant wheels here. As you can see here, we can import them like this, and click on it, done, and click on the tick mark, and yes, you have imported it. So let me just like introduce you to mechanical wheels. So essentially, mechanical wheels allow us to move forward, backward, strafe, left and right, like just like go left and right without turning, and turn like normally. So as you can see here, these wheels have a layout. So as you can see, they have an X shape if you view them from the top.